All right, welcome back to part two of this. I'm just going to start off with what is blockchain innovation then. And before that, again, this is all entertainment purposes only. I'm sharing education, something I know. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor, nor am I pretending to be. I am not giving any guarantees or promises. And I'll refer back to rory3.com/blockchain-innovation. And I do have a little disclaimer on here that I put on there, and I stand by that completely. I am not telling anybody to invest, to do anything forward. I'm just showing you some educational stuff, and based on what I've done, just to kind of show where the path is shared knowledge and information going forward. Okay. Back to this, I'm going to go to what is blockchain innovation then, blockchain innovation is the use of digital ledgers or blockchain to create a solution to a problem or to make a method needed even better and more secure. Removing government and third parties creates efficiency, security, and allows for a trustless environment. All right, it's a very common understanding that government and efficiencies that's not even the same parallel. They're not even the same universe together, right? And it's one of those things that we want to have, right? We want to be able to work in a trust society where a handshake works, and it just seems that greed will get in the way, right? And so this is a system that takes greed out of it. It basically is as simple as this: I can't trust you, you can't trust me fully. We don't know where our moral compass will be. So we're going to work in a system that doesn't rely on trust at all. In fact, it's built as if you are going to rip me off. So how do I protect myself, and vice versa? It's built to not even allow trust to come in. And if you can't allow trust to come in, trust can't be broken. That's basically the understanding of what the blockchain creates. Basically, no one can be ripped off because no single person or single database controls the information. It's decentralized. Okay, now we represent a chat program that literally is serverless. There's nowhere other than you and the person you're talking with that has even a record of the conversation, and that's it. It's closed. That's the type of things that come in there. You cannot be, misrepresented or taken out of context by having your privacy broken or impeached onto because a server was compromised. That is a very important thing, especially when it comes to privacy. And it's very important the more we get this technology out there, because by the sheer nature of it, we lose privacy. Everything's open. So we need things to protect us. And it's a double-edged sword of opening us up and also protecting us and knowing how to utilize that technology right. So, and then there's a purpose for it. And then we're going to market that and share it with the world and make it a better place. So trust is removed altogether, like I stated, and the decentralization of information and who accesses it, controls, and verifies it is handled solely within the blockchain. As a result, or in addition to that statement, the verification and validation of each blockchain is conducted within the mining process or token or cryptocurrency used. So there's a process that makes this all happen, and there's energy that needs to happen to run it, and it's like anything, someone's got to process it. And it's all built into, it's a genius of it, it's all built into the actual mining and credibility of that token, cryptocurrency, that, again, all done through blockchain technology. Let's move on to other definitions to make this even more clear. And I say other, there are so many more definitions. If we broke it all down, we could be on here for hours and hours and hours. So I just picked the ones that were relative to the lesson of the day, the lesson that launched this out there. So cryptocurrency, for those that don't know what it means, it's also shortened to crypto or digital currency. That's kind of a possible negative connotation where, cryptography was used, or crypto is, been seen as like, the very corrupt. Okay, and that is not the definition here. It's very interesting. And by nature, cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin or digital currency is not backed by real assets or tangible securities. More and more, that's really not the case. I mean, there's so much, fiat currency invested into it, and it's changing more. It's definitely based on the trust, right? That's what makes a currency worthwhile. If the U.S. all of a sudden said that the Mexican peso is worth nothing to the U.S. dollar, and we stood behind that as a nation, it would have no value. There has to be a trust and thing going forward. Well, when I eliminate the corruption of trust by putting it on the blockchain where it's built with the things in place that make it so it's trustless, that possibility even goes way even more. So if you look at it based on that logic, the cryptocurrencies are probably going to have far more value long term than any type of fiat, because we watch countries fall, we watch all sorts of things happen, and it can destroy things overnight. I remember so many years ago when the Mexican peso was like worth 2,800 and then 5,000 to the dollar, and then they had to like scrap and start all over. I mean, that happened, and history will repeat itself until there's stronger things that set it all up there, right? And it's based on a trust process as a nation, and the production of the nation. There's a lot of things that create that value. It's not based on the gold standard anymore, which would have given it solid reliability. So with cryptocurrencies, they usually have a set amount that they'll always have, and then it's done. And then a lot of times they burn off some to make it even more rare, which drives the value up. There's things that they can do to control it. Just like the Fed controls things based on interest rates and how many more dollars they put in circulation, there's control factors, and cryptocurrencies have them as well. But we've learned from history, right, and things that worked to go forward with it. And this is where it's really awesome to understand, because most people do not understand how money actually works and how it's created, and why there is inflation, and why the annual percentage rate changes all the time, and it has to do with controlling the aspects that they want to control. Well, the more we go into a situation that's based on consensus and the world consensus in this fact, the more, I guess, fair, equitable it's going to be. You're not going to have major corruptions affecting things. It's unless they control more of the token. It's really a trust. There's so much trustless done that you can trust it, because it's built where it's trustless. So because of that, you can feel more confident about it versus the fiat, which is the dollar. Fiat literally means because we said so. That US dollar is worth 1.5 sterling silver, basically because they agreed, and that's what we agreed on it, and it fluctuates. It's such a man, it's so crazy, and it's also based on hubris. I'm going to bring that name up again. The stock market goes up and down based on trends, understanding, hubris. It's not even all logical based, right? If the world came out and just said, hey, we really hate Apple stocks drop. It doesn't mean their value changes, the perception change. Hubris affects it even more. That's just a crazy thing. And cryptocurrencies are no different. If all of a sudden everybody thinks that this new coin is the best thing ever, it's going to go up. And there's a lot to be gained from it, but also, it can be, and there can be losses. But I do things on a long-term basis, thinking I'm buying into something or investing into something based on what they say they're going to do, what their white paper declares they're going to do, and what the purpose of it is. And if it wins, I'm going for the long haul of it. And in watching cryptocurrencies over these, this last decade or so, what I've seen is, these top ones, the top producing ones that are doing what they say they're going to do, they're outperforming stock market gains by hundreds of percents. You basically, if you had anything in the top 20 tokens, you're making like 600-800% a year, way more than you'd be making probably in the stocks. And it's because of all this stuff, and it's still brand new, right? It's still growing, innovative, and changing. But they can't just keep printing more and more crypto. There's a set amount for that currency, and then that raises the value up as well. There's all these different things that you just need to understand and be around, and it is complex. I think that it needs to be complex because there's a lot of factors that go into it. But however, when you look at the way cryptocurrencies are set up and the blockchain in itself, it's simplified things down to the least moving parts or bits and pieces of it. They've gotten rid of greed and speed, and they put it into for the most part, they put it into a situation where it can be controlled. They just don't keep printing more and more and more to create an inflation in it. It's going to be a supply and demand, an open marketplace, which for everybody here is the best thing. I mean, the more you understand it, you'll get excited. Like, it's amazing. So back to the cryptocurrencies, they're traded between consenting parties with no broker and tracked on what are referred to as digital ledgers, right? The blockchain. So when I send if I send Bitcoin to you, I send it to your address. It's recorded on the public access. You can see everybody see it done, and whatever I send you shows up in your wallet, less gas fees. There's always fees. Someone's got to pay for it, and those gas fees are put into and executed into reward tokens or Bitcoin in this case, for those that are solving the problems that make that happen. It drives it. It's an encryption technique that's used to secure the network. That's what cryptocurrency refers to. Now, there's different types of cryptocurrencies. We're going to talk about it, but it's basically, they're not real coins. Everybody, I think, knows that, even though they keep trying to depict like Bitcoin as a coin. It's digital. It's a digital currency, and we've been using digital currencies every time you use your credit card and go back and forth. The digital money has been out for a long time. I don't think they purposely put it out there. I don't think they even know. They don't even know how many dollars, actual US dollars, are in circulation. Nobody knows. It's unknown, right? They were burning out old money to print new money, and then it always show up getting burned. The corruption of that has already destroyed that whole process. Like, they have no actual count of how much printed money is out there. And that being said, for every printed dollar, there's like 10,000 digital dollars in the network. That's credit cards and banks. They can't ever produce it as a printed money. So just keep that in mind. Like, that's how it is. So, saying that we're going to go to a total digital currency is probably pretty realistic. At some point, it doesn't make sense to mine. Mining and minting is the same type of a process. I'll get to that, but it's, we're pretty much digital. The technology, the infrastructure is in place to allow that to happen. The time for cash exchanges and coins and everything to break down $1 to quarter dollars and dimes and nickels and pennies, those days are, they're still here in some regards, but I mean, it should be going away. We have better technology now. We don't need to carry pocketfuls of, zinc alloy, right? We don't need to. We don't need to carry, cash and paper. We have cards and things that are encrypted. It protects us. It is a better way of things, and it's getting even better. The financial systems that are on the blockchain are by far more secure than anything else, and it does prevent fraud in many ways. And as long as you keep your head on a swivel, and you don't give people access to things that you don't want to give them access to, you're going to be great. And every one of these wallets, every one of these systems has a very direct way that you send and receive your money, and it never involves a human being coming in to help you. If you need a human being to help you get the money out, it goes against the whole purpose of it. Now, I don't mean like your account gets locked and they got to prove who you are. You'll see that's a hard process. They get pictures, they identify things. They'll never ask for your username or password. That's for you to access it. They have what's called a key phrase, or a security key phrase. Is usually 12, 15, 18, 21 words. And you have to put them in order to get access to it. And you're supposed to keep those offline, and there's things to help protect things, because those keys, anybody can have it. It's kind of like bearer bonds. If you know what those are, it means that if I bear the bond, it's mine. If I go and steal it from somebody and I go bear it, it's mine. It's mine by things. It technically can't be stolen. Whoever holds it physically gets it. They pretty much do it that way. And there is a lot of protections of identity and the transactions being done, because not every, and it's, even though it's on the chain, there's protections that come with this, so that not everybody needs to poke into your business. It gives us more privacy. And that's why some people are against this, because it does give privacy to a degree, but it also has an open dialogue of what's happening, because it's all on a public, chain of actions, showing the transfers and who got what and how many, tokens were transferred where, so they can see it done. It literally is creating a trustless society so it can run better. It gets rid of greed and speed. So I'm going to go over the cryptocurrency in case you guys haven't heard it. It was started by a guy by the name of, and I say guy, it could be a gal, a person named Satoshi Nakamoto. And I got to tell you, I've heard so many conspiracy theories and where this comes from. And it almost doesn't matter who created it, because it's no one person can change it. And whoever Satoshi Nakamoto is has never come out. There's been like people that try to claim they were them and then got debunked or whatever. It doesn't even matter. I mean, it could have been the CIA for all we know that created it to put it out there. And I like to think that it was done by someone that understood this and said, this is the only way to get rid of the problems and greed in the world, is to open it up in this setting, and we're going to push it out there, and here it goes. And then it took a while to take off and go that way. I tend to think most things are done in a good nature, and based on the way this is structured, it had to be. So in 2009, the first decentralized cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, was created. And it was So I'm going to go back. I think I said something about I didn't even get a wallet like in Coinbase until like 2015. 2015. And they were showing historical stuff that goes back there. And I'm talking small things I was doing, right? And that was 2015. And that doesn't even seem that long ago. And you know, and I had that Coinbase account. That was the first account I ever got, and I bought Bitcoin through it. It was the easiest at the time. And that was 2015, right? And you look at it now, 7 years later, it's transformed so much, and it's still going, right? But it, you know, that this is the first decentralized cryptocurrency, and that's why it's the first, and it proves out the whole model. And yeah, it's going to get more efficient as they go forward. I mean, it's a very expensive mining process, which we'll talk about, but it changed all this, and it opened up innovations and freedoms, literally freedoms for the whole world, guys. And you know, how is cryptocurrency created? And I'm assuming these are brief explanations, but through mining, currencies are minted or created. Same with cryptocurrencies. There are several forms of how this is done. And so like, if you look at the old money, I'll call it the fiat, paper money was printed, right? And they had a way to protect against fraud and counterfeiting, and they did a horrible job. I mean, the amount of counterfeit money is in the, you know, trillions of dollars of counterfeit money of US dollars is floating around the world. Right? They have no idea how much money is out there in circulation. It's kind of a crazy thing to understand. I mean, it's nuts. And the thing with cryptocurrency is you can't fraud it. It's created. So it eliminates a lot of that. And that alone is a big change. So, you know, it's got to be mined, minted, or created. It can't just be, you know, it has to have a purpose or a direction of being minting to create the currency. That's how it's always been. That's the best way to explain it. That's how it's always been. And there's no better way. I can't, you know, there has to be a minting process, and so they mint it to release it and these funds. But, you know, more and more, I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, you know, the US government, you know, when they release, you know, trillions of dollars, they're not printing trillions of dollars. They don't even have the capacity to do that. They just put it out into the digital currency world. Kind of scary, actually, where they can't just put it out there. It has to be form created. And that's what drives the value of the tokens to go up. It's got the opposite, you know, direction. I mean, if you're holding on to crypto, it's gaining value typically, or it can gain value by just you holding it. That's not the same with the US dollar. If I have $10 and I put it in a lock safe, in 20 years, that $10 will be almost useless. That's not the same with the crypto is being used. It's a whole different process. It eliminates the corruption that comes with fiat. So the more you understand that, the more you're going to say, oh my gosh, I definitely should be in this. Now, it doesn't mean the whole world's going to switch over to digital tomorrow. It's going to take a while. And that's why it's really important that we educate as many people as possible and get them involved in this so that they don't get washed out from it. They can gain from it, right? They can gain from it. So I'm going to just go over a couple of things. And it is in the creation of the cryptocurrency that opportunity and the availability of the cryptocurrency begins. From there, the use case and purpose of the cryptocurrency can increase and decrease in value, right? It is going to fluctuate based on hubris, based on actual use and function. And something that actually has a purpose is going to gain way more in value over time, right? It's actually doing something. You know, we get paid based on goods and services we provide. That's a universal thing too, and what it provides. And the very aspect of multiple solutions for mining is yet more in the works of blockchain innovation too. There's yet more in the works. So there's a utility token and different tokens that are mined. Utility tokens are units of a blockchain stored coins. You know, oh, I have that blocked out there. I'll talk about utility tokens a little bit more. Yeah, I got different types of tokens in here for some reason. It's here, but tokens are, you know, we call it like cryptocurrency. It's a token. They call it tokenization. They create a token or a unit. Like a Bitcoin is a unit or a token. It's the same verbiage. So there's utility token, reward token, security token. A security token is basically one that carries similar to a stock. There's a lot of regulation stuff on there. I'm not going to go into that too much because everything we basically will be dealing with are utility and reward tokens and some financial direction in this training. I'm going to skip down here really quick to like the reward token. You guys, gift and loyalty is a big sector of merchant processing. It's a big cash part. You know, there's trillions of dollars in reward points that are equated to dollars, and loyalty programs, like, you know, everything from your airline mileage programs to credit card mileage to, you know, your Kohl's rewards. All sorts of those things are measured, and they're a big part of our society, a lot of money in them. And those are being, you know, deemed or created in blockchain solutions. And it's going to, you know, some of us are already getting reward tokens for things. That's where it's going. And there's other types of tokens that come out there. And the best thing to do is get research and knowledge on it. We'll share that in the program ongoing, right? Now I'm going to go over types of methods used in mining, just so you guys have an understanding, because this is really, I mean, this is a whole new spectrum of knowledge for most people. Again, this is an overview. There are far more details than I'm sharing here, right? And though for the marketing purposes we are looking to accomplish within RRR247, a simple understanding is sufficient. Okay, you don't need to be a master of all this. You just need to have a simple understanding. And in our training and VIP access, we will dive into these even more. Okay, especially as it pertains to a specific opportunity that derives around it. Okay, now proof of work. This is how Bitcoin is created. For example, Bitcoins are created or mined, as are several other cryptocurrencies. New Bitcoins are generated by a competitive and decentralized process called mining. This process involves that individuals are rewarded by the network for their services. Bitcoin miners are processing transactions and securing the network using specialized hardware and are collecting new Bitcoins in exchange. They're solving a problem, and if they solve the problem, they're rewarded for it, okay? This is also how Ethereum is created, though they are moving to a proof of stake model. It's coming sometime. There's a lot of things being done on that, and several cryptocurrencies follow Bitcoin and are mined through proof of work. And this is an entirely fun and involved conversation we can have, and it goes on, like we go on forever. Like literally, there's so much that goes behind this, and ideas and concept. But you know, proof of work means something's being done to earn that coin, and then that coin also has a purpose where people are using it to buy and exchange services and using that as a currency. And so the more of those you're earning based on the value of the open marketplace, that's what they're worth, right? So Bitcoin right now is like 50K or whatever it is. It's been as high as 68K marketed here. And I like to say that because when it's worth 500K and 600K, we know that it's 10 times that from when we did this training. I remember when it was only $300. That's when I was first buying it. It was like 300. And now it's up to that value. And that's because that's the trust that is earned. And that's how, you know, big amounts of money are put into that as an exchange process, as an alternative to fiat. And if you look over historically, those have been putting money in Bitcoin have done far better than the normal markets, far better than investing in any type of normal fiat currency. And it's because of all the things we're talking about here, the trust, and the odds are it's just going to get bigger. So when someone says it's going to go away, you can laugh at them and just realize, don't look at them and see what they're worth and how knowledgeable are they. But they're a billionaire telling you it's going to go away. I want to know who that is, because every billionaire that I know of has money in crypto. Lots of it. Right? So it goes back to something that goes there, right? Don't take advice from somebody that's not doing it. If someone's telling you advice that someone's going to go away, they're opening their mouth because, you know, we have free speech. And a lot of times I think people should pay to speak their trash, but we have free speech. And a lot of people will give you great notice and great information without you even asking for it that's false. You know, usually those that are willing to open their mouth and give you an ideal thing, the best thing to do is say, well, what have you done with it? If they say, oh, I'm not invested in it, okay, why not? Right? And if they're not a successful person trying to give you advice on something as big and massive as and innovative as blockchain is, be careful on that advice, because they may not know anything about it. Yet they want to talk about it because they read some article or they watched MSNBC and they said that, oh, this is going to be the end of Bitcoin. Yeah, they wish, but it's not, okay? Oh my gosh, there's so many things coming out. So proof of stake. This is an amazing concept that, you know, a person can mine or validate block transactions according to how many coins they hold. And this comes into a lot of things with nodes and other things we go into. And now, I know we talked about that before we record this, but nodes require a set amount of tokens that go into a server, right? And there might be, you know, 20 established nodes or 200 established nodes that run this process. And in order to have a node, you've got to have the node itself and have, you know, having a minimum allotted amount, let's call it, you know, of those tokens that are staked in there. You cannot transfer, sell, buy, or remove. They need to be in place to validate that node. And that node's going to validate the whole process, proof of stake. And for doing so, usually you gain tokens. And if the tokens are going up in value, then that's how you're gaining, right? You're getting paid in tokens for validating the tokens, which is a process that needs to happen in order to make it a valid cryptocurrency and so forth. All right. So, when we, have things, now I stake a lot of things. And some things you don't need to stake as far as having a node. You can just stake them within the process. And this is why we have, stake base and other things that we're going forward with in that process. When I get into the next training, I'll show you where I stake coins and gain percentage. And basically by saying you're not going to trade it, you're going to hold on to it, which I want to hold on to it anyway. It's less taxes if you hold it for over a year. Then you're going to gain a set amount. And to me, that's a conservative way to invest in the future and be in a stable situation and know that you're, have a rate of return coming back on it, or a rate based on yield. So there's APR, annual percentage rate, and APY, which is annual percentage yield. I like APY. Once you understand what it means, APYs are pretty fun. So proof of stake, I go into this more. It's something that's really fun. Now I'm going to go back here to the proof of work. I'll come down here again. Hold on. The proof of stake model allows owners of a cryptocurrency to stake coins and create their own validation nodes in some cases. Staking is when you pledge your coins to be used for verifying transactions. The validator checks that the transactions in the block are accurate, and this is a method for creating the tokens while performing functions and validation of the blockchain for the cryptocurrency or token itself. So what happens when you stake your coins is you receive a percentage in return or a yield, and you get that paid to you in more coins. So you don't get paid like dollars for it, you get paid coin for it. So your coin numbers go up. So maybe you had 200 coins, and all of a sudden now you have 220, 230, and if the value of those coins are going up, then you win on the upside, right? And the downside of it is you might have 200 coins, and then you're part of the process. Now you have 230, but the value of the coin drops, so you're worth even less, but you're gaining more coins. The whole idea of this is you're invested in the future where they're going, and that coin can be worth $2, but in 5 years they do what they're supposed to do. The adoptions processes are right, things that line up, and now it's $20. Well, you've been gaining all these extra coins by letting it sit there, and now your coins are worth a lot more, and you got a lot more coins that are worth a lot more. That's kind of the idea. I'm going to go into this really quick. Proof of sensing. You guys, this is probably the first time you've even heard of this. This is our newest edition, and even though it's been in the works for more than 3 years, this example of this is being released to RRR247 members coming in January 2022. Those within the RRR247 leadership already know about it. We've already started pre-launching it and getting things ready for it. And the Prime One Hub owners are already under education and release of this as well. VIP members of the RRR247 family will be updated at the initial launch and release. Be sure to be on our Tuesday and Saturday trainings as posted on RRR247webinars.com. And it's probably the largest way for the world to win in this stuff. And it's incredible and innovative solutions. Like proof of sensing is going to be, it's a different way of mining crypto. It's still in that same model, but it's not proof of work. It's not proof of stake. It's proof of sensing. It has to do, it's for us marketing minds, it's brilliant. I'll leave it there. Okay. Now I want to know about mining. There are 3 types of mining, depending upon the method, of course, right? There is individual mining, or often referred to as solo mining. This is done in an independent basis. So Peter and I bought a bunch of mining rigs for Ethereum. That was solo at first, and then we got into a pool. So the most common of mining is pools. This is collective mining. Participants share resources and work in pools. A pool is a server combining the computational miners' power together that increases the odds of winning a coin or token, and then it's dispersed evenly with the participants. So you can try it on your own, or you can say, hey, we're gonna be part of a big pool and have better odds. Okay. Now, Computa is a project that we have, and everybody should be signed up in it and marketing in it, because you can earn even without being part of the mining process. But that's a big pool. In fact, that is such a genius program. It allows us to use our little computers, a 64-bit PC and operating system, to mine. And it does have some issues with the way that it operates, and it can be seen as a virus or potential risk. I can tell everybody, I recommend Avast or AVG as antiviruses. We all know we need to have them. It's a good idea because evil people exist. If our PCs all ran on the blockchain, there wouldn't even be the ability to impose a virus. So we don't have that yet. I see the world where it will be created, and antiviruses will be old news, so it won't be needed. We'll get rid of those issues. But we have those now, so I recommend Avast or AVG, and those have allowed me to load and run Computa, and every now and then you might have to turn one off to load it and get it running. And there's always help this. Like if you cannot get Computa to run, and you're using, let's say, McAfee, which is a virus by itself, I would recommend getting rid of McAfee. But if you want to keep using it, there is articles and directions on how to get help. And if you go to computa.com, they have access to their Facebook page, and they have people to help you get through all this. And that's what I would recommend, because if you run into a problem, they already know how to solve it, and there's probably a Q&A on how to do it already, and it's just worth the resource of following up with it. I can tell you that I trust Computa 100% as far as a program, and I would even tell you to erase all of your, in the right sequence, eliminate all of your, like McAfee or whatever else, dump it, get rid of it, uninstall it, load Computa on, right? Run it, get it going, then load AVG or Avast on and go forward. That's what I would do. Okay, so I had a computer I had a problem with. I got rid of the antivirus, loaded a computer on it. It's running right now. I loaded AVG on that one after the fact and haven't had a problem. Now, every now and then I got to reboot it and reset things up because the Wi-Fi gets whacked and I know it just gets hung. That's a technology issue that comes in there, but you're part of a mining pool, okay? When I go into my Coinbase wallet that effective as today, and you see the money I have in there from blockchain or sorry, Bitcoin, that Bitcoin, none of that came from me investing money in. That was all earned through Computa and Coinbase referrals. Just keep that in mind. So the Computa thing, we've been running for years. I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, it doesn't mean that much to me. Well, when we first started it and Bitcoin is like at $3,000, it didn't look like much. Now the Bitcoin's at like 68,000 at the high. It starts looking a lot more attractive. $10 becomes hundreds or thousands of dollars. There's a reason we did it, and we told everybody. I said, look, if Bitcoin hits $1 million, you never had any, you're going to regret that you didn't have any, and this gives you a way to literally get it for virtually free. Okay, and every 0.1 of the fractional of the coin can be worth $10,000 at that point when it hits $1 million. How many of those do you have? And I've created like 54 of those. So that can be worth $54,000, right? Actually, maybe it's more than that now, but whatever. There's a value to it, and at least you're participating in it. And that's why I told everybody, like, it's a gift I'm giving you. And when they first launched it to get the word out there, they gave everybody 0.1. So basically 10,000. If they gave us enough that it would be worth $10,000 if Bitcoin hits $1 million just to set up the account. Now it's a lot less than that because it's more and more valid and provability and it's established and it's kind of like, hey, this looks like it could actually get there. And we're part of a mining process that's mining all sorts of other Bitcoin derivatives, but we get paid in Bitcoin. That's Computa, okay? Now, cloud mining, this is where I've actually lost a lot of money investing and figuring this out. It utilizes the cloud servers to set up and connect the proof of stake, proof of work models. And it also works with nodes. This is how nodes work. It's a cloud, usually it's a cloud server that ties into it, and you stake your tokens on that to bind the process and to validate all the other nodes and processes, okay? And it creates tokens and coins that way. And I look at the node processes a lot. But when I invested in partial ownership before they did all this stuff, and that's where it deemed in there. And I got to tell you, the biggest learning experience that I can come to note is I will never invest in any program where somebody else controls it in and out. When I invest in these other programs, I can pull my money out anytime. No one else has to approve it. If someone has to approve it, prepare for corruption. That goes against the entire process of this. So if I'm going to invest in a mining operation, I can rely on other people to do it, and they report to me, and then I got to request the money out, I'll never do it again, ever. I've lost so much, but gained a lot of knowledge, right? Failed in that aspect, but gained knowledge in there. So, I won't do that, but these the cloud mining, you've got to pay for a server in some cases. It's a risk. And then you got to buy enough token or hold enough token and put it in there and stake it in that node how it operates. So you gain because every time it's functioning and going, you're earning additional token. And if that token's going up in value, then you're gaining from that. That's the whole idea of the cloud mining. And that works for proof of stake. proof of work. I'm not sure on the proof of sensing, but the other two for sure. And that's just some basic knowledge, okay? Our current projects available to all of us here. We have our Prime 1 project. This is something that the patient process is definitely being tested with, but it's making incredible headways, and we see it, right? For us, this is the chat program initially, secure on the blockchain, and also has a reward on coin for use program. We're paid 1.1 or 10% of a TRC per day of minimum use, and that's 10 messages sent per day. Read a day minimum rewards a payout, right? Sent or read, you got 10 messages, and they got to be sent and read. So whoever you send them to has to open them up, right? And that's bare minimum. Obviously, they want to be used more than that, and you earn that. And then you also get a referral of 10%, so 0.01 TRC per day earned on any referred user, no limits for using that. And I put this as a chat program. There's actually so much more behind it. Get with your instructor, they'll walk you through that. If you're not part of RRR247 yet, and you don't know what the Prime 1 process is, you need to learn it, okay? If you don't have an instructor, you're landing here for my marketing, and you're not part of the family, click on this page, and it'll take you to a whole informational page. For those of you that are part of RRR247, I suggest you do the same thing, because you guys, I'll let the world connect with any product that we have. They can be part of the entire ecosystem that we represent here at RRR247. They can be part of one thing or another. I'll go ahead and open this up, show what I did. I did another page called Join the Blockchain and Crypto Fund here. And if they're a member of RRR247, I'm sending them to the support center. If they're not a member, I tell them to continue below. And this is where they can sign up for their Coinbase wallet, Crypto.com wallet. They can participate in mining Bitcoin from their PC with Computa. And then they can enroll in Prime 1 chat, and then they can get into the tipping circle and get access to the other Prime channels. And then I'll add more and more stuff down there as well. And that's just a reference page over here to keep it clean. We have a project Excel Trip. This is something we've been marketing for a long time. We gained millions of dollars in crypto value in something that hasn't even come to fruition yet.
Your page is, I think you're going too fast. It's really garbled, and then sometimes it's been completely white.
Okay, well, so I'm looking on my other screen too, and it looks fine, but it's all here on rory3.com/blockchain innovation, so people can read that along. I'm not really moving too fast on the page. Niall, do you see the same thing?
I see the same as Stacy.
Yeah, it's like ink blotter, kind of a bad printer. It's resources, probably Zoom.
I thought it was my old eyes.
Well, we'll keep going on this. I'm almost done with this section anyway. Is that better?
Black
Not
screen.
really?
No, not yet. Nope.
Nope.
Okay, well, I'm at the end of this part anyway, so I'll just finish it and then we'll stop again. rory3.com/blockchain-innovation is where the verbalization of it is. We have Stakebase, which is being changed with regulations. It was set up in Malta, it got moved to London, UK, and there are crazy regulations that are underway or in process, and no attorney wants to give a solid letter behind it because it's unknown. So we still market it based on keywords and functionality and things that will go on there. We, up to this point, haven't had too many projects that are actually working yet. And I'm going to stop my share here. We haven't had too many projects that are actually working. We've been in the pre-stages, getting ready. And I told everybody that from the get-go. We're going to start establishing SEO now for the future. We want to hold that. We're not changing or deviating from that. In fact, if anything, we should be doubling down and doing more. Stakebase, I believe it's going to come to fruition. At some point, there will be a standing on the regulations. Right now, if you put it up there, if you're in the US, you can't even use it. The regulations basically say it scares people away from it. Anybody outside the US is great, but in case you guys didn't know, the United States of America represents probably one of the single largest buying populations in the planet. So there's a reason we market here first. The globe is going to come. Now that's today. With the blockchain innovations, with cryptocurrency, the world marketplace is going to become better for everybody if they just let us do it. That's why a lot of people are trying to stop it. Okay, the few want to stop the power going to the people. The people, we want all the power to be shared with us. We deserve it. It's ours. We're the stewards of it. And especially when we have systems that we've all entrusted that are trustless, because we know that we can get rid of greed. Oh man, now we don't need somebody to have control. We not having control is going to give us freedom. This is why this is so revolutionary. Eventually it's all going to seep in. You're going to be going, oh my gosh. And it's during our lifetime. That's pretty cool. 11 messages is 0.133 TRC. Okay, it's even better than I stated. Great. Thanks, Stacy. So we've got these projects we're working on. We're rolling out new ones. Well, I'm going to tell you, going into 2022, we're going to start marketing products that are already ready to market, already in the marketplace. We're going to be a lot of times the first adopters to push it out there, which is where I want to be. We purposely took on some risk to get the word out there because we're building, traffic and knowledge bases. We're all part of an education process. That's still going to be constant. As to be a good marketer, you've got to understand and know what you're marketing. That's always going to be the case here. We are going to separate it, and I'm going to state that right here. There's a lot of training and knowledge that goes into these new spaces. Okay, and we have a very awesome culture with RRR247, and we don't want to ever deviate from our core values. And unfortunately, not everybody is going to buy into what we do here. They're not going to share the same vision. They're not going to be part of the pay it forward, and they're going to be greedy. We don't like that. It corrupts what we're trying to do. And when Tanya and I put this together, we were very adamant that we wanted an environment that we would be happy to be working within every day. We wanted to get rid of the things we didn't like in the corporate America structure, in these fiefdoms and cliques and stuff that we didn't like in our own companies. And so we put this stuff together, and it's really important. And it's also important to me that expectations are proper and that we over deliver and under promise all the time. That needs to be the mantra. That needs to be the mode that we run here, right? I don't want to be a hubris factory. I want to be a reality factory. And what we do relies on people actually showing up and doing the work. And so in order for people to gain in this other direction of knowledge, we're going to share things in mass, absolutely, and publicize it to the world. But the opportunities to participate in the next thing and the next thing and the next thing that are all circularly working with our stuff is going to be represented in a solid process to those that we feel are ready for it. And that's why we're modifying our processes a little bit. So we want everybody to come in and get going, and we don't want to overwhelm you. We want everybody to come in, get their PBSs set up, get their pages modified, get going with our anchor offers and running ads. The primary things that we still do today and have to continue to do. That's the driving force of what's here. There's a method to our madness, and it has to be done that way, right? It's the formula, right? It's the system, right? Trust the processes, follow the system, everything's going to work out. Don't deviate. And when we start adding all these other blockchain things, there's going to be a lot of hubris that gets involved, and we don't want to take our eyes off the prize. We want to get there the most solid way, right? I mean, think about the grocery stores, and I go back to like the marketing house. Walmart isn't all of a sudden saying we don't need milk and eggs anymore. They still bring milk and eggs in. It's still a priority. It's never going to change as a priority because it's something that's fundamental. That is foundational. We got our foundation things. Do not deviate from that. So to keep that going and to make it easy for the instructors to keep on point and know where to help their students and when to help their students and when to get them involved in the next process and training, we're gonna follow the VIP path even more so going into next year. So we have a whole new training interface for VIPs coming out. It'll be released. When it's released, it's coming here soon, and VIPs will have full access to it. And then those that have Google AdSense will have an invite and a method to come into the VIP process. And our VIPs and our VIP instructors know this. We get them into their PBS, get Google AdSense going before we start giving them the other lessons as well. It's staged, it's on layers. If you don't understand the basics of what we do in marketing and building our performance blogging systems, adding all these other things is just going to be adding more work that's not going to have a purpose to work yet. You've got to build the infrastructure first. So it's just like magically, check this out. It's just like what I just explained with the internet, starting off with copper wires, they had to get fiber optics in place, and they had to get better infrastructure to go forward. Same thing here. You've got to get your infrastructure in place with your PBS, but then add more and more things to it. You've got to have the foundation in place first. So trust our processes for it. We're not trying to hold it back. We want you to be ready to take advantage of it. But you have to have an understanding and build your own foundation on your PBS to go forward with that. I think that's a better way to explain it than I ever have. So hopefully you guys all get that. I'm going to close this off. Now we're going to go into some fun. We're going to start going into some real applications with this whole blockchain innovations and cryptocurrency. See you in step 3, or part 3 of this training, I should say.